giving us an extra 6 seconds of black screen singing before you even start the 50 full seconds of logos like some sort of sadistic, power-hungry mouse-based corporation intent on destroying my soul. I hereby petition the linguistic cabal to replace watching paint dry with watching ice crystallize. It's a good thing this music is interesting, because I'm already bored. Basically, this movie has Elsa symbolically frozen because her heart's not open. And I just realized that the theme for this movie is Madonna's Frozen. What sort of asshole forces a cameraman to submerge in freezing water, swim beneath a sheet of ice, and risk being stabbed in the f***ing eye just for this shot? I think the movie wants me to believe that cutting up ice is really hard work, but the saw blades seem to hot knife through butter along pretty big sections of ice here. This means that the ice isn't that thick, and they should not be standing on it, or their blades are magical, and we are watching men pretend to work hard so they don't have to go home to their boring evening lives. Someone thought ahead about the little Kristoff needing little tools at the end of the row, and while many will think it's adorable, it just shows how Arendelle is A-okay with child labor. At first, I thought the most dangerous part of the ice-breaking activity was that these guys are hacking away at the ice they are currently standing on. But now I see that ice shards will appear out of nowhere and stab them, as if angry that their ice chunk friends were ripped away from their mother, chopped up in front of their family, and thrown into a cart to be hauled away and eaten by horrible people. Lyrics say that ice is stronger than 100 men, but I'm only seeing 6 men here. So how are they conquering the ice? I've seen more icebreakers at opening day of junior high summer camp.
Wake up, wake up, wake up!
Sips.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Phrases forever ruined by movie for 500, Trebek.
Hi, I'm Olaf, and I like warm hugs.
Thinking you have to specify your preference in hug temperature. While everyone else looks at poor little Anna on the floor, I'm looking at the snow peaks she was running and leaping on. I think the idea is that she started on this low one and leaped upwards to the next peak, and so on, until reaching this highest one where she fell. But look at the gap between each peak. I couldn't even make those jumps.
Mama, Papa!
Up until now, all the kids' whoops and hollers of excitement have been quiet enough that no one has heard. But now, suddenly their parents hear Elsa's cry for help? That's almost as unbelievable as mom and dad appearing fully clothed way past bedtime. Where are the royal pajamas?
Elsa, what have you done?
The dad busts in the room and immediately assumes Elsa has done something wrong. And this is just one way that movies plant fear into kids when they call for help. Is it so hard to write this scene to start with a loving parent that rushes in and asks if everyone's okay?
She's ice cold.
I know where we have to go.
One might think the answer would be a doctor or a fire, but not in this universe. In this universe, you go here, where a man has blue wisps over his head and a shadow boogeyman raises his arms to Satan in the background. Also, thinking this rudimentary map is enough to get you to what I'm hoping says Tron.
Faster, Spin!
Faster? That baby moose is running faster than any moose in the history of moosing, and he's carrying you, and you're bigger than he is.
The heart is not so easily changed, but the head can be persuaded.
I find this rock's confidence in brainwashing highly suspicious.
She won't remember I have powers?
It's for the best.
I mean, maybe, but that's not why they came here. Rock Dude is like, oh yeah, we can heal her, but also we're going to do a little eternal sunshining. It's not really required for the healing, but why the f not?
We will limit her contact with people and keep her powers hidden from everyone, including Anna.
Yes, it's clear now that King Agnar is a short-sighted dick, but I blame the trolls as well. He's saying this shit right in front of them, and not a single one of them was like, you know, you could just try something like open communication, developing emotional intelligence, and maybe not induce shame-based solitude. Just a thought. Also, movie robs us of a good power training montage. Do you want to build a snowman as play? And I'm not going to play it for you, but honestly, I probably don't need to. You're probably hearing it in your head right now because every song in this movie is iconic. Even if it got overplayed, the soundtrack stands toe-to-toe with the best animated musicals of all time, and I can't help but remove a synth file. Although both Elsa and Anna are now isolated from each other in the world, and honestly, no cheery musical number can change my hatred of how this movie starts.
Conceal it.
Don't feel it.
Don't let it show.
A conversation about condoms somehow makes its way into a kid's movie. Anna rides a goddamn bike down the fucking stairs like a lunatic with a death wish. And if we're supposed to be protecting Anna from the things that hurt her, then why is she, 1, not being watched by an adult, and 2, stopped from doing this activity or any of the others in this scene? Also a good thing for Anna, this suit of armor was not only posed in the ever-popular catch-a-child pose, but also that it had been welded in place in that formation to hold her weight. Watching Elsa suffer through her powers as an adolescent is tough. Especially when we know now that her mother is Northuldra and has seen magical things in her youth that could help Elsa understand her place in the world. Why no one shares these important details with her is either because they're the worst, or because Disney went for a cash grab and failed to consider how creating the Northuldra storyline out of their ass would paint the parents in a super negative light.
See you in 2 weeks.
She will not.
You'll be fine, Elsa.
She will not. Shh, shh. If you listen hard enough, you can hear the sound of 1,000 children's tears joining the rainstorm as they suffer at the hands of Disney's highly precise emotional sniping. Also, Elsa and Anna's parents have gone to find the secret of Elsa's powers and die at sea. You would think that they had thought ahead to the worst-case scenario of their deaths and left some sort of clue for their fifth element daughter to discover back home, but no, they just go out there and die like selfish assholes. Holy shit, those headstones must be insanely heavy. Were they just out in nature like this and on a romantic stroll one afternoon? A happy couple saw them and thought, look at that pair of delightful stones. Let's put our corpses here someday. Anna Singh asks Elsa if she wants to build a snowman when their parents just died, and as much as I want to like Anna, that's just really insensitive timing. While I can appreciate a second well-timed trauma skip in under 10 minutes, I get the impression that the writers didn't want to teach the kids how to healthily process trauma at all.
Share.
Eating pre-mousticated food.
The gates will open soon. Time to get ready.
Of course. Ready for what?
Your sister's coronation, ma'am?
She's about to sing a whole ass song about how excited she is for this day. This is like Christmas morning for her. So excuse me if I mention how unbelievable it is that she would have forgotten to wake up. I guess I just want to sin that these people didn't have time to watch little Anna as she rode bikes downstairs, but did have time to practice the lost art of perfectly synchronized window opening for absolutely no reason. You might think that Anna has a clever line, like, don't know if I'm elated or gassy, but I'm somewhere in that zone at the ready. But she actually had 10 minutes to think about what to sing while she walked to the next picturesque wooded background. These ducklings go full Cinderella effect with Anna here, and I wish these movies would stop teaching our children all the wrong lessons about interacting with nature. It's a shame that the history books omit Anna's progressive contribution to the discus throws and their eventual rise in popularity. Movie mistakenly shows us the layout of the art gallery, so when Anna leaps from this chair into this painting, we can reference back and see that there is no chair to leap from. Anna somehow hovers in the air here for a perfect pose, and I'm just saying that this is not the singer in this movie that would be defying gravity. Part of the crowd's excitement at the beginning of the movie was finally seeing the princesses. So when Anna opens up the gates, you'd think that everyone would consider that she could be the princess and then gawk at her and shit, but no, everyone ignores her and walks forward like Anna's a potato.
Prince Hans of the Southern Isles.
Prince Hans discount Zach Levi voices so hard in this movie that I don't know whether to remove a sin for Tangled or add one for Thor the Dark World. Somehow, Prince Hans shows up at the coronation in new clothes and is completely dry despite taking a full dive into the water earlier.
Your Majesty, the gloves.
But why? I'm not saying there can't be a reason. I'm just saying the movie should give a valid one before she removes the protection. And it just feels better isn't enough. I don't care how much of an asshole this old chap is. If Weaselton's elderly are this spry and agile, you really want to remain their ally.
They don't call me the Little Dipper for nothing.
Bragging about your little dipper.
Like a chicken with the face of a monkey.
And admitting this. Anna clearly steps on her dress here, and we hear a tearing sound, yet her dress remains intact for the rest of the evening. So was that just a tear in the fabric of reality then? Seriously, movies, if the moon is this big, it's over. We're all dead. Seriously, Roland Emmerich made a documentary about it and everything. And now we're cross-fading into new environments? What is this dark reality and the curse that hath wrought upon us all? These two sing about saying goodbye to the pain of the past rather than saying goodbye to their eyesight while dancing dangerously close to a light designed to be seen from 20 miles away in the fucking ocean. Traveling into nature to a goddamn waterfall just to sing this line. For those that are tracking Elsa's powers, we now know that she blasts magic out of her ungloved hand, but also from her shod feet for reasons.
I said enough!
This whole segment will make it appear that Elsa has zero control over her powers, but she already had pretty good control of them when she was a kid. Not only that, but you're telling me when she was locked up in a room, she wasn't experimenting with her powers and figuring them out? Being a teenager locked in my room was the absolute best time to experiment with my, powers. This shot is gorgeous, but how exactly are the freezing physics working here? When she steps, is it immediately freezing all the way to the bottom of this fjord? Because if it's just the surface, these steps should be all sorts of wobbly.
She nearly killed me.
You slipped on ice.
I mean, he was pretty close to being impaled, so pretty much did nearly kill quite a few people.
Bring me my horse, please.
But do not bring my coat, because I just want to race into the wilderness and ignore my skin telling me that it is now winter, even though my clothes are saying it's summer. Also, Anna's horse will be fetched, saddled, prepped, and back here to the town square in exactly 8 seconds.
I need you here to take care of Arendelle.
Which I will assume you know how to do already, because you are wearing a sashy prince thing. Elsa has been captive in her castle her entire life, but somehow has the stamina to race across the water and to a mountaintop with 0 leg cramps or anything. Like, she's not even out of breath and manages to belt out an entire song. And here we see that Elsa's powers are not only able to bring snow creatures to life, but also create feats of icy engineering from emotional, imaginational intent or plot preferences. Neat. She's a goddess without limit. Holy Dina Menzel's voice. Seriously, holy. But also, scene does not contain an Adele Dazeem. I saw a sort of ribbon or something in Elsa's bun as she turns, but when she lets down her braid, there is no blue tie in her hair. Add creating fabric out of thin air and also disappearing fabric from hair to the growing list of insane shit she can do. Why is she so OP? Some people make comments about Elsa's strut here, but if you're going to roll your eyes here, you need to also send her sister for this ridiculously sassy strut earlier. The movie wants me to believe that Anna's hair could withstand a magical snowstorm in the wilderness, but not a night's rest in a fluffy palace bed earlier.
Ooh, and sauna.
It's pronounced sauna, Anna, and if you've got fjords in your backyard, you would know this. You gotta love that the only items available if they just so happens to be open at 10:30 at night store are the very items that Anna will need for her journey. I guess I just don't understand how Kristoff is looking like a goddamn icicle spit all over a snowball, but Anna looks like she just came from a ball. I mean, she sort of did, but that was a long time ago.
Woohoo! Hi, family!
Why are these children not asleep in bed? Kristoff is now singing about how reindeers are better than people, and the sin is that it's true. And to be clear, reindeers suck, so you do the math. Also, a man whose life revolves around reindeer doesn't know the plural for reindeer doesn't need an S.
What size?
Foot size doesn't matter.
I can't believe this joke is in this movie. But more importantly, do you know his foot girth? On the one hand, I'm very glad that the children watching their heroes be attacked by wolves are enjoying playful banter. But on the other hand, I think this scene is lacking a lot of terrified screaming from a certain person who has been inside a castle all their life and has never come face to face with this
Christopher!
It's Kristoff! Ow!
Why is everyone so casual?
But I just paid it off.
He said, holy how am I still alive right now, oddly. Have you ever tried to tie a secure knot around an axe during an adrenaline rush while wearing snowy mittens? Me either. But it seems like maybe that wouldn't be very easy for Anna to do in a pinch.
Of course I don't want to help her anymore.
Because wolves attacking their sled was totally Anna's fault somehow.
She'll die on her own.
I can live with that.
That's right, kids. This asshole turns out to be a better match for Anna as a partner.
But you won't get your new sled if she's dead.
Character motivation exposition via moose imitation is a new one, but it's still a sin. I mean, it's a beautiful landscape, but where in the are they going to go from here?
Arendelle.
It's completely frozen.
And yet somehow you two aren't after a night at this elevation with no supplies. You should have had to use Sven as a sleeping bag, and we all know it.
I'm guessing you don't have much experience with heat.
Nope.
But he does have enough experience with heat to understand he likes warm hugs. Just don't think about anything to do with Olaf. None of it makes sense. Teaching children to blow dandelions, which then only spreads dandelions and grows even more dandelions, which are weeds. A snowman begging for summer? Hilarious. What the hell does this newborn snowman know all about bees and dandelions and burning sand and unicorns to begin with? Did Elsa create him with selective knowledge? What an else-hole. Whatever these three have done to this person here.
Let's go bring back summer!
Somebody's got to tell him.
Kristoff is absolutely correct. To withhold information like this from a sentient being about their own vulnerability and weaknesses is devastatingly cruel, and each of these humans who doesn't let him know are terrible friends. The end.
Please tell me I'm almost there.
Funny joke, but Kristoff's eyeline was clearly looking further up during most of that conversation. These boots have no tread, and they were in the winter department of the store. It's super nice of Disney to spare us the more likely traumatic flashback that Elsa would be having here. You know, all the adults in her life telling her she was dangerous and should change herself for the betterment of other people.
Elsa, wait.
No, I'm just trying to protect you.
When you think about it, Anna's dismissal of Elsa's concern about her unstable powers is really fucking dumb. Anna may be young and inexperienced, but her sister is dangerous and there's enough evidence to just back away from the loaded icicle. I can't play this part for you, but basically, this is the equivalent of when two people speak over the top of each other without stopping to care what the other is saying, but while singing, and I hate it. Elsa accidentally blasts her sister again, and maybe we can forget that, but here in a second, she makes a massive monster to prove a point about wanting to be left alone, and then that creature tries to kill them. I'm sure Elsa's a great person, because somehow she can make a marshmallow puff like Olaf and out a pretty palace, but someone needs to slap her so that she can get her together and stop making monsters that hurt people, and that never happens.
Watch out for my butt!
It is not nice to throw people!
Whoa!
It is also not an official kids movie until there's a butt joke.
You guys go! No, not you guys! This just got a whole lot harder.
I suggest rewatching this movie with the understanding that Olaf's ass is completely independent of his head. It will with you. On the list of things running through their mind on this perfect slide down the mountain is how stupid they must feel for not realizing there was a direct path up the mountain rather than their overly complicated previous pathway.
There's 20 feet of fresh powder down there. It'll be like landing on a pillow.
Kristoff, the weather guy, knows how much fresh snow has accumulated in this very particular spot.
Hey, you were right. Just like a pillow.
As if you know what it's like to fall 200 feet onto a pillow, Anna. Sheesh. Movies. All right?
It's because she struck you, isn't it?
You weren't even there to see that and haven't had any time to talk about it. Assumption much, Kristoff? I like to believe there was a stern conversation in the animation room about how ridiculous it is to wear high heels on ice.
Kristoff's home!
We were so excited about it, we waited a good 30 seconds to reveal ourselves just to make sure the script had time to really beat that insanity joke into the ground.
I passed a kidney stone.
Carrying around your kidney stones outside of your, dear God, that poor troll's urethra.
Trolls.
They're trolls.
The moment you have the realization as to why internet comments don't matter somehow makes it into the film.
What's the issue, dear? Why are you holding back from such a man?
Movie shows us that they're not above writing an entire song about how a woman should be attracted to a man despite him being a fixer-upper, which impressively is also offensive to men too. These trolls just sang about the thing with the reindeer being a little outside of nature's laws, and for the sake of the sin count, I'm going to need you to be a little more specific on this accusation. The trolls just told Kristoff to get her fiancé out of the way so he can be with Anna while forgetting that there are other options besides monogamy.
She's as cold as ice.
There is strange magic here.
There's also a colony of cultish rocks that just force these two into a love hole, but we're skipping that part since Anna's about to die and the movie successfully distracted everyone.
If it was her head, that would be easy, but only an act of true love can thaw a frozen heart.
Mostly because the Magic Rules Committee are a bunch of romantics with an overdeveloped sense of arbitrary story obstacles. I love how the shot to the head earlier put her out immediately until they could get her to the trolls, but the shot to her heart acts progressively as some sort of third act countdown cliche. And when I say love, what I mean is, we'll now send the ever-loving out of. Just duck around it, you moron.
Oh, meet you guys at the castle!
How does he know what or where the castle even is? I'm getting tired of this snowman's omniscience about everything except his own ability to melt. Nobody gives this fucking reindeer enough love for running around a goddamn mountain for a couple of days and then hauling ass to save Anna twice. We're here for you, Sven.
A true love's kiss. Oh, Anna. If only there was someone out there who loved you.
There's heel turns, and then there's heel turns that are so over the top that part of the heel melts into the floor from the friction of the spin. Hans goes from loving human to psychopath so fast, I'm not sure how he didn't melt a hole to the center of the earth and break both ankles in the process.
As heir, Elsa was preferable, of course.
Oh, Hans is going full villain exposits his evil plan cliche right now when he doesn't even have to? Bold choice, writers. I mean, Hans.
I charged Queen Elsa of Arendelle with treason.
But not murder, because reasons. It really is super convenient that Elsa's sadness and fear keep busting her out of bad situations instead of encasing her in a cocoon or something. Kristoff pretends to talk as Sven during the entire movie, but when Sven actually wants to talk for himself, Kristoff acts as though he can't be bothered. I'm not sure if I actually need to say this, but sticking your carrot in a keyhole is not only inadvisable, in no way will open a locked door. Also, I want to send Olaf for breaking into a goddamn palace with zero understanding of its layout or any previous breaking and entering experience. But I think the fact that no other human comes to check on the presumed Anna corpse is the bigger sin.
I don't even know what love is.
But do you want him to show you?
Love is putting someone else's needs before yours, like, you know, how Kristoff brought you back here to Hans and left you forever.
Or, and go with me here for a second, how Olaf has put himself in harm's way by starting the fire and caring for Anna. There's true love happening on screen right in front of us, but apparently we have to see loving to the point of sacrificing your life for the spell to end. And that would have been good for the fucking trolls to tell us earlier.
Some people are worth melting for.
Except in this case, your melting has literally nothing to do with saving Anna. You lit the fire, now go stand outside where it's colder. Otherwise, that's not love, it's a martyr complex.
We made it!
Early on in the writing process, someone said that Olaf should accumulate snow and turn into a bigger snowball. But then another person pointed out how ridiculous that would be, because it would be happening the entire movie. But then they had to do it at least once, so here it is in this moment, and not any of the other hundreds of times Olaf has rolled around in snow his entire existence. It's dumb. Remember earlier when Sven couldn't get up the dainty ice stairs, but now he's running an unhindered 40 miles an hour on ice? Kristoff apparently went to the Prometheus school of moosing away from things. Sven sacrifices himself, but doesn't actually sacrifice himself because Disney doesn't trust the audience to handle permadeath, so opts instead to wreck small children with f***ed up examples of love.
Elsa?
This final turn of the act of true love being Anna's own act of love is set up and paid off perfectly. We were all set up for a false love and a true love, and then bam, the choice between saving Anna's own life or saving her sister's life. By the time we realize what's happened, the movie has already brought home its themes of non-romantic true love, and we're just a puddle of tears. I mean, you're a puddle of tears. I'm the asshole who's about to add a sin, because what kind of ice breaks a sword? Anna sacrifices herself, but doesn't actually sacrifice herself because Disney doesn't trust the audience to handle permadeath, so opts instead to wreck small children with f***ed up examples of love.
Love. Of course.
Maybe hold off on the thawing love parade till you're all on land. I doubt you want to depend on the conveniently seaworthy boat that you probably didn't even know was under you.
This is unacceptable. I am a victim of fear. I've been traumatized. Ah, my neck hurts.
Twitter. Oh, don't worry, kids. Olaf's nose isn't destroyed forever by Sven. That happens later with something called decomposition.
Are you ready?
Here's a confusing moment when Elsa happily makes a skating rink for the people of Arendelle, who have not yet finished their therapy for the magical deadly winter she just caused.
I like the open gates.
We are never closing them again.
Well, that is just dumb. There will be times when closing the gates makes sense, and you both need to learn about something called middle ground.
If you hear the sound of a thud from my home, and 1 week later, there's a smell coming from there that can only be a decaying human body, even then, don't come knocking.
Loki, enough. No more illusions.
Your Majesty, the Duke of Weaseltown.
This is a fertile land, and we will thrive. We will rule over all this land, and we will call it this land.
Please, just stay away from me. Stay away!
He's as crazy as the old man. The beast will make off with your children. He'll come after them in the night.
No capes.
Philippe, what are you doing here? Where's Papa?
Oh, you should probably wait out here.
What?
Last time I introduced her to a guy, she froze everything.
But... You'll be back.
You kind of set off an eternal winter?
Always winter, never Christmas. It's been a long winter.
You said you did.
In any case, no one's going to come to your rescue. In a few hours, the United Nations will receive a Yuletide greeting. The information that I now possess the scientific means to control or to destroy the economy of the whole world. People will have more important things to think about than you.